Hi, this is Jeremy. In this video, we're going to work through the exercises that go along with the Mathantics video, Fractions are Parts. Here we go. Our first problem asks, what fraction of this rectangle is shaded? And shows us a diagram right here. So what we need to do is we know this is going to be a fraction, so let's start with our fraction line. And there's two parts to a fraction. There's the top number and the bottom number, so we need to figure those out. Now, when fractions are used to represent parts of an object, the bottom number tells us how many parts that object's divided up into. So let's count those. This rectangle is divided up into 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. So 4 will be our bottom number or denominator. And then the top number tells us how many parts we're considering at the time. In this case, it wants to know how many parts are shaded. So since this one part is shaded, that's our top number. So 1/4 of this rectangle is shaded. The next problem is similar. It again asks what fraction of this rectangle is shaded. This time we have a bigger rectangle that's divided into more parts, but the procedure is just the same. Draw a fraction line, and first let's figure out how many parts this is divided up into. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 will be our bottom number or denominator because that's how many parts this object is divided into. And then the number that are shaded will go on top, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. So the fraction of this rectangle that's shaded is 4/6. The next problem asks us what fraction of this circle is shaded. So it's the same type of problem, it's just we're dealing with a circle instead of a rectangle. To figure out how many parts are shaded, this one's pretty simple. The circle's divided into half, so we'll do our fraction line and show that the circle's divided into 2 parts, and the part that's shaded is 1, so that's 1/2. 1/2 of this circle is shaded. Problem 4 shows us another circle that's divided up into parts, and it wants to know what fraction of that circle is shaded. So our answer is going to be a fraction. Let's first count up the total number of parts that the circle is divided into. Be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So since it's divided into 8 parts, 8 will be our bottom number or denominator. And now let's count the parts that are shaded. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 parts are shaded, so that's our top number. The fraction of this circle that's shaded is 5/8. Our next problem, instead of showing us an object like a circle that's divided up into parts, shows us a group of objects, a group of circles, and some of those circles are shaded, and it wants to know what fraction of that group is shaded. So it's the same procedure. We're going to have a fraction as the answer, and first we need to count up how many members there are in the group. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 members of the group. That's our bottom number, our denominator. And now let's count how many are shaded. 1, 2, 3. So 3 is the top number. So 3/4 of this group of circles is shaded. This next problem is really similar to the last one. It wants to know what fraction of this group is shaded. So it's going to be a fraction, and the bottom number is going to be how many members there are in the group. Let's count those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a group of 5, so 5 is the bottom number. And for the top number, it'll be how many are shaded, which is 1, 2, 3. So the fraction of this group that's shaded is 3/5. Okay, problem 7 is just a bit different. It wants us to do the shading this time. It gives us a box and says shade 3 out of 4 or 3/4 of this box. So the box is divided into 4 parts, so all we need to do is shade 3 of those parts. It can be any 3, so let's start with this top corner. We'll shade that one. I'll shade this one. And how about this one? There, so now this box has 3 out of 4 or 3/4 of it shaded. And the last problem also asks us to do some shading. It says shade half of this rectangle. Here's the rectangle we need to shade, and half is a fraction. Half is just the fraction 1/2 or 1/2. But the interesting thing about this rectangle is that it's not divided into 2 parts. It's actually divided into 4 parts. So we need to figure that out. If there's 4 parts, half of 4, or 4 divided by 2, would be 2. So that means we need to shade 2 of these parts in order for it to be half of the whole rectangle. So let's shade 2 of these parts. And then as you can see, the result is we've shaded half of this rectangle. The reason that works is because 1/2 is equal to the fraction 2 out of 4. These are what's called equivalent fractions. They both have the same value. They both mean half. They just use different numbers to represent that value. So this shows half of this rectangle shaded.